I'm Riku Mukherjee, and that is Tony Altieri. Wait a second, I've got that flipped, but that's okay. It's been 2 weeks. We're out of practice. We don't know what's going on. We had the President's Cup last week. We weren't going to cover anything there because it's not fun for betting, not fun for DFS. But there were some takeaways from the President's Cup last week. Rick, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I really enjoyed the President's Cup last week, actually. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger of a blowout, but it actually was pretty exciting through Sunday. Internationals made it a competition.
Yeah, I will say this. It was definitely interesting. You know, you and I were on the Discord kind of going back and forth, and it's like they were live Saturday night. Like it was like they were pretty good odds, 15 to 22 to 1. Like we're kind of hanging out there, and it's like this could be an interesting day. Like if they dominated the singles matches, they can find their way back in, and it wasn't meant to be. You know, the Americans end up winning pretty easily, but at least it was competitive. Like it was entertaining, and like you and I were talking before this started, I mean, Tom Kim, story of the President's Cup, right?
He might be my new favorite golfer on tour. He's phenomenal. He's a great golfer. He has the emotion and the personality that I love in golfers. And yeah, man, he knows how to get it done. His fire and emotion when he closed out that match on Saturday was spectacular. And yeah, I think he has a really bright future. I think he's going to win a lot of events.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting when he hit the putt to win the match with him and Siwoo. That was pretty amazing. It was almost as big emotionally, like it was almost as big of a moment as when Homa hit his putt to win the match, right, on 18. So
Yep.
it was cool. We're not going to sit here and tell you that it was all the drama of the Ryder Cup or anything like that, but it was interesting. It was fun. It always felt like the Americans were in control, but the internationals had moments, right? Like we talked about Tom Kim multiple times throughout that tournament, just played phenomenally. And, you know, it was kind of the story was kind of written on Sunday, but still great TV. And, you know, I think we're all aware, like the DFS golf community, we're all aware of kind of our hierarchy this time of year, right? It's kind of like football way up here and then like huge gap. And then golf's like way down here at the bottom of the screen where you can't see us. But that's okay. Like it's still fun to sprinkle in golf with football. And we're here to talk some Sanderson's farm swing season. It's still a great time to win some money, right?
Yeah, man. There's still 100K prizes up top on DraftKings. You just gotta, realize that there's probably a lot of noobs out there playing right now because they're playing with their football money and stuff like that. So it's a good chance for us to who we know these golfers from top to bottom in the field, and good chance to build some good lineups and win some good money. And I love swing season, man. I watch golf all year round. I play golf all year round, so it's nothing new for me. I'll have football on the main screen, but I'll have golf on my laptop. I was watching before the President's Cup, even on Sunday. I was watching the end of the Italian, or not the Italian Open, but the French Open or whatever they had, and Guido got the job done overseas, and hit the
9 under on Sunday. Wow,
dude, the shot he hit on 18 was like one of the best
win
shots
the tournament. I know,
one of the best shots I've ever seen in my life, and kind of crushed me a little bit because I had a little Rasmus action going. I had a Rasmus and Ravens parlay going because I love parlaying my golfers and my football teams. But
yeah, you did like a 7-leg parlay like a week or two ago.
Yeah,
like,
2 weeks ago.
I've never seen that before.
That's fun. I always like pick a few. That's my thing. I like picking a few football games, and then I juice up the odds by betting some plus money golfers and try to hit a parlay. But yeah, I love golf. We're here for the Sanderson Farms, and you want to really quickly talk about the sponsor, and then I'll talk about how to get in the draw, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Gorilla Garage is continuing to run their promo. It's getting close to the deadline here. I think we're going to do the drawing here at the end of the month, but we'll select one winner, 2 tickets to go to the Bills-Packers game, which I believe is next month in October. So if you're in the Buffalo area, it's a great opportunity. This is the second or third game we've given away tickets to. We've had a number of sponsors that have stepped up, so we appreciate Gorilla Garage for everything they have done for the show and for the channel. You know, Mike and Jake just got done running their show, so big props to those guys. I have to mention it. It's like Civil War on the channel, dude. It's you and Chris versus Rick and Jake. Like, this is Bills Ravens, dude. This is like a big deal this week. You're actually headed back for the game.
That's right. I'm going flying out to Maryland on Wednesday. I'm a groomsman in Chris's wedding on Friday. So we're going to be drinking from Thursday through Sunday. His wedding's on Friday. Then we're going out drinking on Saturday. And then we're all going to the game together on Sunday. So it should be a pretty fun weekend. And then, like Tony was just saying, our sponsor is giving away 2 tickets. If you want to get in a draw for the 2 tickets to the Packers-Bills game, that includes parking on October 2nd. All you have to do, you can enter in 2 ways. You can subscribe to Nickel City Mafia if you're not already subscribed, and leave a comment on the video below. Or another new way that you can get into the draw is join our Discord channel. Discord. The link is in the description. Me and Tony and Chris and Mike, we're always in there chatting Bills, football, golf, anything you guys want to chat about, we're there. If you guys want relationship advice, Tony can give you that. If you want golf swing tips, we can give you that. Whatever you want. But join our Discord channel. Link is in the description. You'll be entered in the draw to win 2 tickets. All you have to do is join the Discord channel and then join the golf thread and just tell us what your YouTube name is, and Mike will put you in the draw. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, the Discord channel is such a great way to continue to communicate. It's like being on a massive text string with like 4 or 5 of your buddies, and that is always on for us. We're always chatting, we're always talking. We will be adding the link to the Discord in the YouTube comments down below. So if you're watching this after the fact, you're not live with us tonight after midnight Eastern, just click the link, join the Discord, and continue the conversation after videos are done. But Rick, we're not here to talk Discord. We're not here to talk garage things. We're not here to talk Buffalo Bills football.
Let's talk the best trophy in all of golf.
The massive rooster.
I was hoping you'd say cock. Cock.
as the massive cock. Last year's winner, Sam Burns, here at the Country Club of Jackson, right? Bermuda Burns takes home the trophy. And we're here at the top of the board. Also, Sam Burns, I mean, by far the best player in the field. Odds-wise, he's 10-1. Sahith Theegala, 2 weeks in a row, is going to be below 20-1 in the odds. JT Poston below 20-1. And, of course, Russell Henley rounding out the guys in the 10Ks and below 20-1 odds for the tournament. Rick, where do you go here? Do you think Burnsy has any bit of a hangover from playing in the President's Cup? Those guys were pretty active on social media saying they got pretty trashed after the tournament. But, he's got a couple days. It's not that far away. I mean, do you think he's ready to play? And does he take this seriously to defend his championship?
Yeah, I think he'll take it seriously. The thing that irks me a little bit about Sam Burns, though, this week is that he played all 5 sessions last week. Him and JT and Jordan Spieth were the only 3 Americans that played all 5 sessions last week. So he could be a little burned out here. I'm not really sure. And like you said, it looks like they were having a really good time after they won. They were drinking a lot on Sunday. So, he's probably – I mean – he's a young guy. I'm sure he can bounce back real fast, and he doesn't need that much practice to get ready for the tournament this week. But I'm sure he took Monday off, didn't practice, just kind of got over his hangover, and he's making his way over to Jackson and Missouri. And is it Mississippi or Missouri? Mississippi, yeah. Jackson, Mississippi. And he'll be ready to defend. I don't mind him this week. He's definitely by far the best player in this tournament. So I think I'm definitely going to have some of him this week. I'll also have some of Sahith this week. Sahith has some good history here. In 6 rounds, he's one of the best strokes gained total guys here that he's played. I see the 10,200 for JT Poston and 10,100 for Russell Henley. I can't click that, man. That's just too high of a price tag for 2 guys that usually we see in the 8s and 7K range. These guys were playing good golf, towards the end of the year last year. There's no doubt about it. But there's no difference between JT Poston at 10.2K and somebody like Davis Raleigh and 9K. Like there's just not a $1,200 difference there. So I can't click those 2 names for me. So it's Sam Burns and Theegala up here, and I'll definitely have some lineups where I'm going to fade the entire 10K range.
Yeah, it's interesting for the Fortinet. I kind of rode the 2 guys in 10K. Like we talked about the fact that you're going to have guys that are going to be super chalky and popular. In both Homa and Theegala were both extremely popular in that tournament. But what I did is I stacked those 2 guys to be a little bit different, and that's one way to do it, right? Like you could go Burns and Theegala. It leaves not a lot of room for you to be able to construct, I guess, lineups that are somewhat decent through the middle part, right? Like you basically go right to the low 7Ks into the 6Ks. If you do that, it's hard for me to get there with Henley and Poston above 10K, just like you. Although Poston has been playing phenomenal. I mean, you rode him pretty much all the way through the latter half of the year. He played great coming down the stretch. He's got phenomenal course history here. It feels like he might be in one of those spots. Him and Tagala are both what I would call trending going into this tournament. So I think Tagala is going to be a guy that I have up in 75-80% of my lineups. And I think I'm going to rotate between Burns and Poston and just do lineup builds where it's like Burns Tagala or Tagala Poston to try and have those two guys in the 10Ks. And I think a lot of people are going to end up fading the two guys at 10-2 and 10-1 just because there's such a massive difference between, Burns and Tagala and Poston and Henley. They're just the classification of golfer isn't even close.
Yeah, and Henley also pretty good course history here. This is a course that like screams Russell Henley. Fairways and greens. But me and you both hate Russell Henley on this show, so we're not going to play him. Yeah, we're going to fade him, and I think we're going to drop down to the 9Ks and play some of those guys instead.
Yep. Down below, just below this here, we've added it in just a quick graphic that going back to 2018, you can see the kinds of guys that have won. And then of course the runner-ups, it's all over the board. I mean, it's guys that are great putters, guys who hit fairways, guys who bomb the ball. This is really a course that brings a number of guys into play because it's not very difficult, right? Like you can win hitting putts. You can win like Sam Burns did last year, where he basically approached the course to death and lost strokes on the green and still won. You can go the Sebastian Munoz way, which is each one of the 4 days he had something that clicked and something that fell apart. It really doesn't matter. Jackson CC gives everybody an opportunity. And so that brings in just a wide array of golfers. So, it's interesting when we start talking a little bit about the betting cards. I think for me, I'm going to be going much heavier on bombs than I would just because I think so many guys are in play this week.
Yeah, and if you look at the runners up from last year, Cameron Young, this was my first exposure to Cameron Young last year. He finished runner up to Sam Burns. So keep an eye out for these Corn Ferry guys. We're going to talk about one in the next range that I absolutely love. That could be the next Cameron Young for me this year. So just know that this is where the Corn Ferry guys are trying to, make a name for themselves and try to win a golf tournament. So, let's go ahead and drop down to the 9Ks and let's talk about these guys.
Yep, we talked about former winners on that last list. McCarthy leads off here. He has actually got, for a guy that has never won this tournament, the strongest course history here. Munoz right below him, your favorite guy you kind of alluded to, Taylor Montgomery, who has been phenomenal. If you followed him at all during the Corn Ferry last year, he was by far, him and Carl Yoon, the two best players on the Corn Ferry Tour. Stallings, who finished the season phenomenally, got his way into the tournament championship for the first time in his career. Seabez, fresh off the President's Cup, and a few other guys that, and Grillo, who are trending nicely. And then Bradley and Riley, who I guess find themselves in this range because of name value. Both guys kind of come limping into this tournament off of less than stellar form. You mentioned him off the jump, but why don't you start us with Taylor? I mean, he's red hot.
Yeah, man, phenomenal. Third at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago, and then his finishes on the Corn Ferry, the 4 events before that, 9th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. This guy is you just can't deny those finishes. Like he is just hitting the crap out of the ball. He is great tee to green. He bombs the ball. He's a good putter, good short game. I just love everything about this game. I think his game, I think he's going to be this year's Cameron Young, who's, in contention for rookie of the year. I know it's too early to say that, but look at him. He's priced at 9,600 with guys that are regulars on the PGA Tour for a reason. DraftKings knows what they're doing here by pricing him at 9,600 as a Corn Ferry graduate in his second PGA Tour start. So there's a reason why he's up there. I love him this week. He's going to be a staple in my lineups. I'm also going to roll with some Sebastian Munoz. That guy played phenomenal last week, man. Besides like Tom Kim and like Siwoo Kim last week, he stole the show for the internationals. He beat Scotty Scheffler on Sunday in singles competition. He played well in the foursomes. I think Trevor Immelman made a huge mistake on Saturday morning by not putting him out in the foursome session because he put Corey Connors out there, who was just dragging his butt. Like, he couldn't play golf last week. Should have put Sebastian Munoz out there because he's red hot. And we know Sebastian Munoz. This guy can just literally shoot a 61 in round one and try to hold on. So I think the President's Cup's going to give him some confidence going into this week. So those are definitely my two favorite plays in this range. I like the Denny call. He has good course history here, but he's been all right recently. It's just kind of whether or not he, his iron game, we know he's going to put the lights out. That's just Denny every week. It's just whether his iron game is going to track with it. So for me, it's definitely going to be Taylor Montgomery, play number one, Sebastian Munoz, second favorite play in this range. My third favorite play in this range is probably going to be, I'll go with Denny. I'll just ride the tournament history here. He's number one in your model in tournament history rank. So I'll just play those three guys at the top. And I don't really have any emotions or feelings about the rest of this range. Griot's been playing okay. Scott Stallings obviously was phenomenal towards the end of the year last year. We know that. Davis Riley, I was so heavy on him at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago, and he just literally shat the bed. He shot like +9 through 2 rounds. I can't go back to him, man. I understand the pedigree's there, that he's a great golfer and all that stuff here in his area of the country. He's like an Alabama boy, but can't go to him, man, after what he did to me at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Davis Riley, since you mentioned him, you look what happened to him at the Fortinet, and the thing that was different is kind of throughout the year, he had been phenomenal off the tee. I mean, he was a consistent gainer, even all the way through the FedEx St. Jude. He was gaining 4.1 off the tee. And then basically when he got into the playoffs, he fell apart. And that trend continued into the Fortinet. The only place he gained was on approach, but he was losing basically everywhere else, off the tee, around the greens, and of course putting, which had been one of those things that had been up and down for him. And he was absolutely terrible in all of the metrics except approach. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's injured, if he's going through swing changes like a lot of these guys do. But I do think that, to your point, there's a lot of pedigree there with him, and he's one of those guys that can just show up if the mood strikes him, if he starts hitting the ball off the tee. And you mentioned it. This is a course where probably more than any of the other courses throughout the year on the PGA Tour, where off the tee game is extremely important, both statistically and then of course in terms of guys that have won here previously. They've all gained off the tee, so you want to see that. That's the thing that worries me with Denny. To your point, he's got 2 top 20s and 2 top 10s sprinkled into his last 5 tournaments, so he's got phenomenal course history. I have a tough time getting there, right? I'd rather play guys who can't putt, like Griot, and hope that the putter flips for 3 or 4 rounds to see if those guys can show up and actually contend. And for the price tag, to your point, I'd rather play Munoz. I'd rather play Montgomery. I'd rather play Stallings. And then the other thing is just it comes down to ownership, right? There's a lot of guys in this range that I think people are interested in. No one's going to play Seabez. No one's going to play Keegan. No one's going to play Davis Riley. So that's where you'd be able to gain your leverage in this field, is those 3 guys. And Keegan's got decent course history. He started to trend better towards the end of the year. Not great. Stallings was actually a guy that surprised me. He's played really, really well here and in previous iterations. Obviously last year's the best year that he's had on tour. So he's got some momentum, but he's played this event multiple times and finished here very, very well. He's typically pretty good off the tee. And if he continues to putt well like he has, the last 4 or 5 tournaments, this could be a place where he finally breaks through and gets another win. So a lot of opportunity here, but it's hard to argue with your call. Taylor Montgomery is basically tailor-made for this course, right? Off the tee and putting. This is his spot.
Yeah, and the thing, like we just talked about earlier in the show, is that there are a lot of guys that are going to be playing DraftKings this week that don't know who Taylor Montgomery is, like no clue who he is. They're going to see a name like Sebastian Munoz. They know who he is. Scott Stallings, Keegan Bradley. They know who these names are. And I just don't think it's going to be – I mean, I feel like Taylor Montgomery is going to be owned, but I don't think he's going to be like super, super chalky. Like I don't think he's going to approach like 25% or anything like that. I think he's going to be in that 15, 16% kind of range, just because people just don't know who he is. And if you don't know who he is, he's going to be a household name sooner or later. So know who he is, pay attention to who he is, because he is – I wouldn't be surprised if he went out and won this tournament this week. So, I love him this week. Keegan, I get it. He finished fourth here a couple of years ago. But for me, Keegan is always just like a Northeast guy. Like, I can't play Keegan in Mississippi. Like, I feel like anywhere like Virginia and above, like, that's where you play Keegan
He's a
Bradley.
Yankee, huh? Can't play him
Yeah,
anywhere else.
you can't play him anywhere else. And yeah, so I can't get there with him. But yeah, I don't really have any. I mean, Bez. No, I'm at man. Look, he's 80th overall in your model, 118th in stats rank, man. Like, I don't get it. Like, he's not that good of. He never will win a golf tournament. Like, he'll finish like 20th, and you can't like really. I mean, 20th out of a 9,300 golfer, like that's his ceiling. I think. Like, I don't think he's gonna finish like top 15 or top 10 this week.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good call. He's one of those guys that he won multiple times on what was the Euro Tour and now the DP World Tour, coming over, basically got him his card. He was one of those guys a couple years ago, has made his way through the Korn Ferry ranks, basically got in, and everybody thought like, okay, he's going to be the next big like Euro guy to burst on the scene in PGA, and it just never happened, right?
Never
like
happens, yeah.
he's so bad off the tee, it kills him. He can't hit fairways, and he doesn't hit it very far. And at this place, like I feel like you got to be able to be good off the tee in one of those aspects. You got either got to be like Brandon Todd or Cam Champ, right? Like find every single fairway or absolutely bomb the crap out of the ball and give yourself the shortest distance in. And, you know, fighting the driver here is just not a recipe for success.
Yep, I agree. I think we're pretty in sync with the guys that we like in this range.
Yep, dropping down into the 8Ks. There's some names in here, man. I'm like, I can't believe that guy's in the $8,000 range, right? And there's some guys that it's like, man, I can't believe he's next to that guy. I mean, you got names like Mullinex next to, you know, major winner Gary Woodland, Wyndham Clark, who played well, Seb Straka, who won a couple times on tour. You know, I mean, it's kind of an odd mix, and I feel if any place is going to get overlooked, it's this range. Like people are going to go like 10K, 9K, and straight to 7Ks, and no one is going to play anyone in this range.
Yep, absolutely. This is a weird mixed bag of guys for me. I have my guys that I like in this range, and I think I'm just gonna fade everyone else. The guys I like in this range are going to be Taylor Moore at 8,500. The guy's been just lights out towards the end of the season last year. He finished 17th here last year. You know, he was a Korn Ferry guy last year that really came on strong towards the end of the season. You know, event after event, he was finishing in the top 10, top 15. So I think he's going to carry that over. You know, this week he finished 36th at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago. So not bad. I think he's going to be my favorite play here. I'll go back to Mullinex. He missed a cut at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago. It was weird. He like lost strokes off the tee, which is like something we never see out of Trey Mullinex. The guy just gains strokes like every week off the tee. So I think if anything, like he can flip his driver back around. Like he'll be fine. He did finish fourth here last year. Like this guy has good course history here too. So I don't mind those two guys, Taylor Moore and Trey Mullinex. I usually play Chris Kirk. You know, I just don't mind playing him. He's a great iron player. He's a good overall player. And then the rest of this range is just kind of gross to me, man. I mean, Dietrich played. What did he finish at he finished 12th at the Fortinet, which is pretty good. So I don't mind Dietrich. Just many people might not know him, so his ownership's going to be down. But if I'm going to rank my plays here, it's going to be Taylor Moore 1, Trey Mullinex 2, and then Chris Kirk 3. And then, you know, 3B would be like Dietrich just because of ownership probably. But everyone else is just kind of meh for me.
Yeah, you know, Hadwin's kind of a forgotten soldier. Everybody's kind of moved on from him. He's had his little run towards the middle of the season. He's kind of fallen off. Taylor Moore, I think, is a guy everyone's going to click the name on. He's got 2 top 10s. You know, he finished 36 last week, which wasn't great. But again, he continues to gain off the tee. You know, approach is really where he struggles, basically gains everywhere else, around the greens, putting and off the tee. Approach is important like it is every week, but it's a little bit mitigated this week compared to off the tee and putting. So I think Taylor Moore makes a lot of sense. The guy that I guess I'm the most like scratching my head about is Harris English. You figure of all of these guys, maybe other than Gary Woodland, he's got the most like pedigree, the most high-end skill. He's a Ryder Cup guy. He won a couple times a few years ago. He's coming off an injury. He had a top 10 last week. But when he was making his run 2 years ago, it was all ball striking, right? He was just striking the crap out of the ball in 2020, and then he gets hurt, and we kind of see him sporadically, and then he's kind of started to make plays back in. I just don't know if this is a good spot for him. Again, it did. 2 weeks ago at the Fortinet, he finished top 10, but I felt like it was all irons and putting. Not that that's a bad thing, but he's kind of struggled off the tee and coming back. How do you feel about Harris English? Does he move you one way or another?
I think I need to see it a little bit more out of English before I go back to him. Right before his Fortinet top 10 finish, he had 3 straight missed cuts before that. So he's been pretty up and down since he's like come back from his injury. So I need to see a little bit of modicum of consistency out of him. If he finishes top 10 again this week, then yeah, I think he's back, and I think it's safe to go back to him. But I just can't do it just because of one top 10 finish 2 weeks ago. I think I need to see it again before I click that name. So I'd rather go to Moore right below him, or Molinex a couple notches below him.
Yeah, it could be a good buy low spot. He's going to be very low compared to. I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, you're right. He could be very low owned. I'm not really sure. Like, I don't have ownership percentages right now. I don't really know what the ownership percentages in this range are going to be. Yeah, it could just be like Taylor Moore, and the rest are just like low owned guys. I think Taylor Moore's going to be chalky, but I think the rest of the guys just going to be low owned. Sepp Straka at the top, no one's going to click his name. Like, he has 4 straight missed cuts at this event.
You would think off the tee and putting, that's like Sepp Straka.
Yeah, he's terrible at this course, but his last like 3 events, he's been 6th, 28th, 2nd. Like, he's been playing good golf throughout the playoffs last year. So definitely don't mind him from an ownership perspective. I just that tournament history of 4 straight missed cuts is pretty ugly. So I don't know if I can click that name. So it's tough for me in this range, man. I can't really see myself going to many of these guys besides Moore and Molinex and Kirk. I think those are my guys, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because I do think that like there's not a lot of made cut equity in the 8Ks, and that's typically what you're looking for from an $8,000 player. Is you're thinking a guy that's going to make the cut, the guy that could contend. And here, other than probably Taylor Moore and Trey Molinex, you feel like you don't have a ton of made cut equity. There are names though. You mentioned Detry. Like, Detry is one of those guys. He's one of the Euro guys that came through the Korn Ferry ranks last year. Got his card through the Korn Ferry finals. Played very, very well. Never won in Europe, but he was basically like, until Tony Finau started winning everything, he was like Tony Finau Euro. Like, he was always top 5 Thomas Detry. And so I'm interested to see how he performs now on the PGA Tour as a regular card-carrying pro. Gary Woodland, man, I don't know what happened to that guy, man. Like, he was like I don't care where he was a constant play in my lineups, and he's just been so inconsistent here the last, basically year. He finished 64th at the Fortinet, a place where, names like Taylor Moore and Harris English like played much better than he did. Yeah. So I don't know what's up with him, man. He's kind of reverted back to Gary before he won the US Open, where he just is not very good.
Yeah, I don't really get what's going on with him. I think he still is like fighting an injury. Like, I know he had like hip surgery last year or something like that he could be fighting. I know it's gonna sound weird, but I feel like he's just, ever since he like lost his fat, like I feel like he's gotten bad. Like, he lost weight, he got like ripped, and like all of a sudden he doesn't know how to play golf. I feel like it affected his swing. Like, he was a lot more chunkier like when he won the US Open, and he was winning like the Waste Management Open, like tournaments like that. And then all of a sudden after that, he just lost a lot of weight, and I feel like it messed with his swing. So
is that what happened to Duffner? Duffner go the same thing. Like, Duffner like was super fat, lost a ton of weight, and then was terrible, and then he gained all the way back, but it didn't make him any better at golf.
Yeah, I don't know. Scott Stallings lost a lot of weight, and he got better at golf, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. Woodland's one of those guys. He's a guy that I love, and the running joke is you can make a case for Gary Woodland regardless of what the course is. Bills fan chimed in here. Taylor Moore for sure. Hey, Taylor Moore is going to be Again, probably 18% owned, which is going to be high for the 8Ks because I don't think anybody else is going to touch 10, 11, 12%. I mean, maybe Mullinex gets close to 12%. Other than that, everybody else here is going to be single digits. All the ownership is going to funnel to Taylor Moore. But you can go the Taylor double, go Taylor Moore and Taylor Montgomery and run both guys there.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing that. We're just missing Taylor Pendrith. We could have played all the Taylors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need the trifecta of Taylors here.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've kind of beat the 8Ks to death. I'm with you. Moore's the guy to play. Probably Mullinex too. And then I'll probably sprinkle in some Detry, just hoping to get that ceiling play from him at 8,800.
Yeah. I like that call. I don't mind the Detry call. All right,
drop it down to the 7K. This is the interesting range to me because I think the way that ownership and construction is going to end up is like we were talking about. You're going to get guys in the 10Ks, the 9Ks. Everybody's going to avoid the 8Ks, and you're going to have to drop down and play a ton of guys from the 7,000s. But there are really good options. Obviously, Steele continues just to be like when you run models, his name just floats to the top. Even though he missed the cut at the Fortinet, which was a course that he had won back-to-back years and basically dominated, he still like metrically struck the ball ungodly. He just missed a ton of putts and was terrible around the green and ended up missing the cut. I think he missed it on the number, to be honest. But, it's one of those things where you can go back to Brendan Steele because a ton of people got burned by him 2 weeks ago. And I think you could get him at depressed ownership. And this, again, is a good fit for him. Alex Smalley, obviously 7th in my model, like Smalley a lot this week. Ben Ann, it's nice to have Ben Ann back in the hunt, right? Great 2 weeks ago at the Fortinet.
Yeah, man, I love Ben Ann. He's one of those guys that I missed him on tour last year, man. He's like I think he's like Sebastian Munoz light. He like knows how it goes out and shoots like 63 and then just like can't put four rounds together and win a tournament. So I definitely like that call with Ben Ann. I think my favorite play from above like 7,500 here is going to be, like you said, Alex Smalley. He's 7th overall in your model. 31st place finish here last year. Pretty good end of the season last year. He's playing decent golf. I think this is a good course for him. He has good course history here. Justin Lauer played good at Fortinet a couple weeks ago also.
Should have won the tournament. Should have won.
Yeah, he should have won. Could have won the tournament. Yeah, he finished 4th, 9th place finish before that. So he's playing pretty good golf. He's never played this tournament before, so it's going to be a new one for him. So I think for me, 7,500 and above, my favorite players are going to be Lauer and Smalley. Steele's a conundrum for me because, like you said, man, he just like in every metric, like stat ranks wise, like he's first in your model. Pretty good course history here, but he played terrible at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago. Like he just did not. Like he couldn't make any birdies. Like maybe that's just him.
The guy was like terrible on the greens. He had one of the worst putting days that he's had in 2 or 3 years. To your point, at a course that he has won multiple times at.
But that's typical Brendan Steele, though. Like he's terrible with his putter. So maybe he can flip it here. I don't know. It's really frustrating to watch him play golf because he just 3 putts from 10 feet all the time. So. I don't really have any other takes from above 7,500. Andrew Putnam's been playing all right golf towards the end of the season last year. He doesn't have the greatest course history here from missed the cut here last year, so I don't know if I can get there with him. But I think Alex Smalley is going to be my play. I love that. I love that he's 7th overall. I like you. I had him highlighted, and now that I see that he's 7th in your model, makes me like him even more. So yes, this is Smalley and Lauer for me above 7,500. Benny Ann for sure below 7,500. The other guys that fit your model here, like we talked about before the show, Steven Jagerbombs, he's pretty good. Davis Thompson played really well at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago. I like those calls according to your model. Hendrik Norlander, back-to-back 4th place finishes here, but he has been pretty bad this past season. I don't really know what to do with him. I have to. I have to play him in my lineups just because he has back-to-back 4th place finishes here. So he obviously has great course history here. So, yeah, I don't mind him. Who else do you like below 7,500?
Yeah, you kind of hit on the guys I like. Yager, Thompson, Norlander are 3. They're all at 7,200. Like all 3 guys, I'll probably have a fairly equal sprinkling of all 3 in my lineups this week. The other guys you also mentioned, which I will be heavily owned below 7K, and heavily owned is a relative term, but I do like Hayden Buckley and I do like Lee Hodges. Hodges to me is like Davis Riley light, and I know Riley didn't play well towards the end of the year, but he had a very, very good run, and I'm still buying Davis Riley. I still think there's some high upside there. Hodges plays a very similar game. We saw it flash multiple times. He's big off the tee. So I like that this week, kind of in the Cam Champ vein of winning at this place. The other guy that's interesting, because you wouldn't think just based off the player profile, and of course he's been terrible towards the end of the year, but CT Pan. CT Pan's, two top 15 finishes in the 2 times that he's played this event. And then Fratelli's the other one right below him at 7,000. Fratelli, I think, has made 3 out of 4 cuts here, and at 7K. In my mind, you make the cut. If I got you at 7K, just make me the cut, get me into the weekend, and don't murder me, right? Like, don't lose me points on the weekend. But I would say probably Yager and Thompson are my 2 favorite plays, because they have a good combination of course history. And then, of course, Davis Thompson, we saw when he came out of, I believe, Alabama, he was, I think, the one of the best amateurs. He might have been the best college player in the country, the Haskins Award winner. It's something we've thrown out. I think Davis Thompson won the Haskins. Could be wrong on that, so don't be afraid to fact check me on that. But I like Thompson and Yager a lot, both at 7,200. Probably my favorite plays there. The other guy that I always like to sprinkle in, because I do think there is something to be said for long-term form. List, like, I know what I get with Luke List. Like, he's gonna lose 5 to 6 strokes putting. I do. But it's like, he continues just from off the tee and approach phenomenal, and you just got to hope that he gets back to chipping well, because that really was the X factor. He's still gonna always putt terribly, but if he chips decently, he could be in the mix. So List at 73 is another guy that I'll throw into the lineups.
I'll tell you what, Tony. If Luke List can finish in the top 50 of this event, I will go back to playing him, because this guy literally can't even finish the top 50 of a golf tournament right now. I don't even know the last time he finished in the top 50. So now I'm out on Luke List. You can enjoy playing him, but I'm out on him. I'll give a couple more names. I like the CT Pan call. 2 top 15 finishes here the last 2 years. Pretty bad recently, but I can't quit him. I love playing him. Nick Taylor played really well a couple weeks ago at the Fortinet. He has really bad course history here. He has 3 straight missed cuts here. So I think that could suppress his ownership a little bit, because people will see that and get scared away. But he was a staple in my showdown lineups at the Fortinet a few weeks ago, and he won me some money in showdown last week, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I like him. And then I'll give you guys one more name out there. This is not someone you guys know, but he played pretty well at the Fortinet. He's another Korn Ferry guy. I love his swing. His name is I don't even know how to pronounce it. I think it's Seong Han Kim. He's 7,200. He finished 36th at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago. He finished 6th at the Korn Ferry Tour Finals, his event before that. He was close to, if not the first-round leader at the Fortinet a couple weeks ago, and then kind of faded on the weekend. But guy has a beautiful swing. He knows how to play Birdie Fest, this is what's going to be. So if it's going to get to -20, -21, whatever it's going to be, he could, pop a little bit, and no one knows who he is. No one's going to play him. But really good golfer at 7,200. So that's my sharp play in this range. Is I'll just call him S Kim, not Siwoo Kim, but the other S Kim.
Yeah, they have him, I think, on DraftKings as SH Kim, right? Because it can't be S Kim because that's Siwoo. Yeah, SH Kim, right? So we love the initials with our Korean golfers. And maybe he gets good, and then he just decides, like Tom Kim, he's going to choose an American name randomly for a child's cartoon. We'll call him, Mickey Kim, Mickey Mouse Kim. So
there you go.
He's going to be Mickey Kim to me from now on.
Yeah. But yeah, I like those guys, Nick Taylor and SH Kim and CT Pan. Those are my other little flyers from the low 7K range. So yeah, let's round it out with the dumpster.
Yeah, diving down into the guys below 7K, did something a little bit different. Obviously, we've got the overall model rankings, but I highlighted guys who were also either in form, which is the orange or yellow color, the stats, which is pink, or in the what I would call like the course history or tournament history. Those are in the light blue. Guys who are inside the top 20 in any one of those categories, I've highlighted them appropriately with the colors. And you can see there's a couple guys here. Malnati is probably the guy that is of the most interest to me in the high 6Ks. He's a guy. I think he actually won this tournament like 10 years ago. He had a runner-up finish here a couple years ago. I think when Sergio won putting with his eyes closed. I think Malnati finished in second place. Other guys up here at the top of the 6K range that I think have just Johnny Huh has played really, really well, played great, probably had inarguably his best year on tour in probably 4 or 5 years. I think that's a discounted price for him at 68. MJ Duffy is a lot of people are talking about him this week. He played very, very well at the Fortinet 2 weeks ago. Hits the crap out of the ball off the tee. He's also a very good putter, seems to fit the profile. And then, of course, my boy Adam Long and Adam Shank, the two Adams. I like playing both of those guys a lot. I like to play them in the same kind of lineups. They're both played at 6,700, priced the same. So I'll probably end up playing both of those guys in lineups. And, of course, because of my construction, I'm going to go heavy on the top. So I'll end up going a lot of lineups that are stars and scrubs. So that means I'm going to have to get variant down here. I'm going to try to avoid owning any of these guys more than like 20%. And I'm talking about doing, 20, 30 builds, not 100 or 150 builds. So you're talking about maybe 2 or 3 lineups with these names and try to sprinkle it around to the top. Who do you like above 6,500, Rick?
Did you talk about Peter Malnati?
I did. He was the first guy I jumped on. Yeah, Malnati.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite play up here. Pretty good course history. Pretty well. He did pretty good for us last year.
Yep.
Down the stretch. Besides that, Adam Long, like you said, he has good course history here too, but he hasn't been the greatest recently. I don't know, man. I want to say Michael Kim again because I played him with the Fortinet, but
can't do it.
I don't think I can go back to him again, man. He was so good down the stretch in the Korn Ferry Tour, like finals and stuff like that. Got his card back and just. He broke my heart at the Fortinet. He was in one of my main lineups, and I thought he was going to play really well, but he played absolutely terrible. He played like he did back on the tour 2 years ago. So I don't think I can click that name again. It's a little scary for me. I like Brian Stewart at 6,600. I know you always like playing Brian Stewart, but
fairways, man, the guy leads the tour in hitting fairways. He's even shorter than Brendan Todd, but he hits more fairways than the Todd father.
That's don't need to be that long at this course, but he's been playing pretty decent golf. A lot of top 15 and top 30 finishes, like middling finishes. We don't need like out of a 6,600 golfer, like a top 15 or top 20 finishes, like perfect. So I think he could do it here. Above 6,500, that's pretty much it. I know there's a little bit of, course history. Obviously, Ryan Armour won this event. What is it, like 3 or 4 years ago? But he's been really bad. Like he's actually, no, you know what? He finished. Where did he finish 5th? It doesn't show me the events, but he finished 5th 2 events ago. I don't know where that was.
Armour here. Let me pull up the stats on him.
Where did he finish 5th?
I knew you were going to do this. You're going to pick a guy that I didn't have pulled up on my screen, but here we go. Ryan Armour. So he definitely has been struggling. So the last time he made a cut was at the Travelers that he finished 25th. He actually had back-to-back at RBC and the Travelers. He finished 5th in the Korn Ferry Championship. So he had to go. He was one of those guys that basically had to fight for his card and then won it through the Korn Ferry finals.
Gotcha. Okay, so his 5th was at the Korn Ferry. Okay, I was wondering what that 5th was. I was like, I don't remember Ryan Armour finishing 5th somewhere. But okay, yeah, I don't mind him. I mean, you can sprinkle if you're building 150 lineups, you can put him in like 4 lineups and be overweight, so you're fine there. Below 6,500, I don't really know much about this Ben Griffin guy, but I know
he's popping in the models though, dude.
Yeah,
his through 14 rounds are phenomenal.
Who is he?
I have no idea who Ben Griffin is, but I will tell you this much: he's 8th in this field in birdies or better. Okay. He's top 25 in opportunities gained, and he's also top 15 in the key proximity range. Is kind of like 125 to 150, which is where most of the approach shots are coming. So he's one of those guys where, kind of like Brendan Steele, like he's just the models are gonna absolutely love him, and he's always gonna get elevated. But I mean, other than that, I don't really know a lot about the kid.
Mike says, where are you getting the overall rankings? So that is oh, you mean the overall rankings on the sheet? So that's Tony's model. He puts it out on Discord. So if you join our Discord, you can get the link to his model. He also sends out an email and posts it on his Twitter. So that's according to his model. So it's not on the site. It's just Tony's model that he runs. And this guy pops in his model 37th overall in his model at 6,300. That's not bad. I think I might have to sprinkle a little bit of Ben Griffin in my lineups. And then I like Carl Wan, like we said, a Corn Ferry guy with a crazy swing at flat 6. Pretty nice price for him for his ability to play golf. He played really well on the Corn Ferry Tour this past year. I don't know anyone else down here that I really like. Scott Piercy, I guess maybe a little bit at 6,400. He's a PGA Tour vet. He played. He almost won.
Is it because you love his political views, Rick? Is that what it is?
No, that's definitely not QAnon Scott Piercy. Yeah, the only person I hate that actually gives shit about their political views down here is Jimmy Walker. That guy absolutely hates me. I always comment on.
I love that you have the political discord with Jimmy Walker. That's like
dude, I have a feud with him, man. I have a feud with him. I DM him on Instagram and he DMs me back. He's like, man, I'm just out here trying to make a living. Why you always hate on my political views? I'm like, dude, you're like openly a huge Trump fan. Like, I get it. You can be a Trump fan, that's fine. But like, he's just like very like adamant about things like on his like social media. So I like give him shit about it, and then I also like give him shit because he sucks at golf. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's enough about Jimmy Walker. I'll never play him. I can't stand that guy. But
dude, he led the field at approach last week. Like I was saying, I was blown away when I saw that stat that he led the field at the Fortinet in approach. Crazy.
I get it. Talk to me real quick before we wrap up. How far has Garrick Higo fallen, man? 6,100 in this field? That's pretty bad.
He's objectively terrible. I went.
This guy won a PGA Tour event.
Yeah,
not last year,
his first
2
event.
years ago. Yeah, like he won a PGA Tour event.
He hasn't made a cut since the British Open, which he finished 47th. Prior to that, he popped at the Memorial for an 18th top 20 place, and then he didn't have another made cut except for the Honda. Like it looks like the stretch for him is the stretch that we're getting ready to go into. It's kind of that like the Zozo, the Bermuda, the Mayakoba, like that seems to be where he plays his best golf, because he had a stretch there in 2021 and 22 where we kind of had the crossover of the season. He made like 5-6 cuts in a row. He was playing very well, and he's just been terrible ever since. I mean, literally he's made 2 cuts in 15 events. And I just think we got to get back to that place. I don't see this as a place where you can jump back in on him, because one of his worst stats is off the tee. He's been so bad off the tee here recently. He's been bad everywhere, but I mean, he's been losing strokes off the tee here basically in all these rounds. I can't see going back to him anytime soon.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I won't play him then. I just seeing his name next to some of these other guys, and I'm just like, dude, this guy won a PGA Tour event, and he won like back-to-back weeks on the DP World Tour 2 years ago. Like, why is he priced with Tano Goya and Wilson? Like, these are made-up people. Like, this guy's a PGA Tour winner. Like, I don't get it. But anyways, okay, yeah, I don't really have any other takes down here other than the fact that Brandon Matthews at 6,200 can hit the ball like 400 yards off the tee. He's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. I don't know why, but Fantasy National, which is the site that I use to accumulate all my stats and build my models, like they mix up Carl Wan and that other random Asian guy,
Kevin Yu,
pricing every week. Carl Wan again here, $6,000. Carl Wan is not $6,000 this week. It's
is he not?
Asian guy that they mix him up with, and I can't remember who it is now.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, damn, Carl Wan. Okay, yeah, Carl Wan is 6,900. Okay.
Yeah. He is. And there's a guy at 6,900 that they just randomly mix him up with every single. I don't know why, but it just seems to happen. The other guy that I would throw out here below 7K that I just, again, from a long-term profile is Callum Tarrant. I mentioned him at the Fortinet. He missed the cut. He didn't play very well. But, a guy that absolutely smashes the ball off the tee. He's a very good putter. It's just around the greens, he's terrible. And approach wise, he's not been good as of late. But, again, at a place where approach is quote unquote mitigated versus other places that they play on tour, you can take and roll the dice on Tarum. And then T Dunk's right below him. Like, Tyler Duncan is one of those guys that's going to flash. He's a perennial swing season all-star. One of those guys that just shows up. So I could see going back to Tyler Duncan. No one's going to play your boy Sabatini. Bronze medalist or silver medalist Rory Sabatini. I heard he still wears that thing around like every day. Like, he goes to the grocery store like randomly in Slovakia where he's from. He just has the silver medal dangling around his neck.
That's pretty funny. What's Lucas Glover been up to? He's 18th in your model. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's actually played fairly well. He's got good course history here.
Yeah.
His wife is no longer beating him, so that is a positive as well too.
How do you know that his wife's not beating him anymore?
Well, obviously she's not, because he's not having to claim domestic dispute. He's not having to withdraw from tournaments because he doesn't have like bruises all over the side of his face and neck. So, that's a good thing. I'm happy for the Glovers that they've reconciled and worked things out, and he's no longer, a victim of domestic violence. Not a funny subject, but it is funny that Lucas Glover did get his ass beat by his wife for basically a year for sucking at golf.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see here. He's made 4 straight cuts. He had a 3rd place finish 3 events ago. I'm not really sure where that was. He has a top 15 finish here. Yeah, man, I could play some Lucas Glover at 6,800. I have a soft spot for him. He was in my 100K lineup and on DraftKings when I won. And let's play some Luke. Let's fire up some Lucas Glover this week. 6,800, 18th in your model. Pretty good call there.
Yeah, I like Glover. He, again, statistically, he ranks out very high in the stat model, but just to give you an idea, he's top 10 in 1, 2, 3, 4 stats, top 15 in 2 others. Like, of the 8 major stats that I run here, which are approach, the proximity ranges, driving distance, off the tee, fairways gained, birdies are better, and a couple others, like, he is green in every one of those stats. To your point, he's got pretty decent course history here. He's got 2 out of 4 made cuts. He played decent towards the end of the year. He made 3 cuts in a row. He made the cut last week at the Florida Net. So, again, to your point, for the money, like, it seems like it's a smart play. And then your boy, the Smotherman, right below there, another stat beast right below him. I also like Smotherman.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up here. You got bets to talk about?
So I haven't made any bets yet, but I'm leaning towards bombs. I told you I have like a sneaking suspicion that the winner's either going to be Sam Burns or somebody from out of left field. And when I say that, I'm talking guys that are like, in the low 8Ks and below. Like, this is the kind of event, and you mentioned it with the Korn Ferry guys, where we can just see a guy show up and win an event like this. Michael Kim, winning the John Deere comes to mind. And if you look at the list of winners, like we talked about, CC of Jackson is not super difficult, so it brings in a bunch of guys. I will probably have a massive card with like 15 guys, but very limited ownership, very limited exposure from a dollar percentage wise, just because I'll have sprinkles on guys that are, in the 70s, 80s, and well into the hundreds and 200s, because I just think a guy's going to come from nowhere. And guess what? If Sam Burns beats me like Max Homa beat me last week, hey, good on you. I would never bet a guy at 10-1 to win a golf tournament.
Yeah, I can't do that. Some bets that I like out there. I'm just looking at the board. I haven't placed any bets either. Taylor Montgomery, obviously 30-1. I like that. Taylor Moore at 50-1. I like that. Trey Mullinex at 50-1. I like that. At the bombs, we talked about these guys throughout the show. Davis Thompson, 125. Lucas Glover 125, SH Kim 100-1. I like these kind
Mickey
of plays.
Kim, your boy Mickey Kim.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Mickey Mouse Kim.
Yeah.
We gotta find we gotta figure out a Disney character that's SH. We'll think about that one, but SH Kim can be our Disney character. Let's see here. What did he say? Where is the guaranteed money shot that Rico used to give us? Guaranteed money this week. All right, I can give you something like that.
Guaranteed Jason Duffner misses the cut. How about that?
All right, Mike, I'll give you a guarantee this week. Taylor Montgomery, top 10. I don't know what that pays out, but Taylor Montgomery, top 10, has to pay out something like around 6 to 7 to 1, 8 to 1, or something like that. I'll throw that in there. I love him this week. I think he could easily win this tournament. He's my play of the week. He's my pick to win this week. So Taylor Montgomery, top 10. take it to the bank. I did make one bet this week in Europe, Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, which is a phenomenal field, but
Much better than this pile of crap that we're talking about.
Coming off of his absolute heartbreak at the Fortinet Championship, I placed a little wager on Danny Willett to win the Alfred Dunhill. He is a past champion at
He
that
won it
event.
last year, right? Was it last year or the year before?
Maybe last year.
Last year.
Okay, well, I got him at 40-1, so I bet him again. I don't mind betting Shane Lowry too. I think he just won. I almost said Wembley, but what's the tournament in the BMW PGA? Yeah. Shane Lowry won that. I see right now his number's 12-1. I don't know if I can bet that, but Danny Willett 40-1. I like that number.
All right, so quick bombs for me on the Sanderson Farms. Lipsky 140 looks good to me. Hodges at 125. Buckley at 110. Steven Yager at 90. Luke List at 90. I kind of like those numbers. And then for the
can I take Luke List to miss the cut?
Yeah, I know it's probably a much better bet. That you want to talk about a surefire bet the house Rick bet. It Luke List to miss the cut.
Luke List to not even finish in the top 50. There you go.
Yeah. And then over at the Alfred Dunhill, Thorbjorn Olafsson at 70. Thorbjorn's got a lot of steam. I like him at 70. As long as he's not on a plane taking his dong out and smashing it against a stewardess, I like Thorbjorn. And then the other two guys that I also like, much bigger odds, Matthew Jordan and our boy Thirsty Lawrence, who just after his win, he continues to just make crazy runs. But Lawrence at 125 and Matthew Jordan at 125. I like both of those numbers a lot. But yeah, I mean, or you could just not bet golf and, bet on football, which is what everybody else is doing.
Whatever. We like betting on golf, man. You ain't going to get 100-1 winner in football. That's why we bet golf.
Or we can just do what you do, Rick, which is like bet on Sam Burns and like 9 football games. Like that is the play.
You could do that. It's a really dumb way to bet, but somehow I've managed to hit a couple of those in my life, which are always fun because it pays out really.
Like a 7-team parlay here the other day.
Yeah, there's this guy in football that I follow, and he just happened to go undefeated, and I parlayed it with Max Homa at the Fortinet on Sunday, and luckily won that one. So it just worked out. It's just a run good Sunday, but that's not the proper way to bet. The proper way to bet is what we talk about: sprinkle some guys, sprinkle some bombs, bet your football game straight up, and hope to come out with a little bit of profit. That's all we really care about.
All right, last thing before we go, who again was your pick to win this week? I want to make sure we get that to the people each and every week so we at least have something. Who do you like this week?
Taylor Montgomery. That's my pick to win this week.
I am going with your boy. He is trending. 6th place finish last week at the Fortinet. 8th place here last year. Sahith Theegala to win this week at Jackson CC Sanderson Farms. Sahith Theegala, my pick.
If Sahith Theegala wins this week and is holding up that big rooster trophy, I'm gonna print that out and put it on my wall. That's my.
There you go. You can take down whatever's behind you and then put the Sahith Theegala with the massive cock poster up on your wall.
There you go. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us. Appreciate it. We said it was gonna keep it short, and we ended up at an hour again. It's just impossible. We have to go an hour.
We go an hour every week.
It's just our deal. Anyways, follow us on social media. Smash the subscribe button. Remember, the promo for Gorilla Garage Gear ends this month. The Packers-Bills game tickets on the line, so leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, go to Discord, do all those things, get into the drawing and watch the Bills and the Packers in October. Big thanks to Mike and Jake and the crew. Civil War, you're traveling. Safe travels, Rick. Have fun out there for the wedding and the game and all those things. Big ups to Chris. And we'll see you back here next week, hopefully, after we hit a winner.
Yep. Go Ravens.
Go Ravens. Go Bills. Or, either. Doesn't matter to me. Have a good night, man. I'll talk to you later.
Watch the game end in a tie. That'd be funny.
Oh, that would be the worst. Tie would be the worst. It's like the Bills versus Lamar. That's really the game. Can Lamar throw for 300 and run for 100? If he can, they have a chance.
Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy.
Right, man. Have a good night. Good luck to everybody out there, and we will see you guys next week.
All right.